Welcome into episode 16 of Through the Whistle. I'm, as always, your host, Ty Belcher. And on today's episode, we're going to discuss a couple college football games that have some playoff gravity to it. And we're also going to talk about some big matchups in the NFL that also are going to have a lot of stakes going forward with the playoffs looming over our heads. But before we do any of that, we're going to stay in the NFL. We're going to talk about last night's Thursday night football matchup between the Buffalo Bills and the New England Patriots. So last night, we had an AFC East matchup, love divisional games on Thursday night football. And the Bills have been struggling. I've been very adamant about how the Bills have been struggling. Not the most adamant about how much the Bills have been struggling like Nick Wright on this other stuff. But the other day, I lied to myself. We're going to just take a little trip down memory lane. We're going to go back to Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving Day, I said I swore off betting on the Bills. Because they lost, they didn't cover the spread. I gave them a 4.5 point spread, and I gave them a 4.5 point spread, and it didn't cover. I was like, well, I'm done with them. Cold turkey, out of there. Kind of like how I went cold turkey with the NBA bets until after Christmas, but that's a story for a different day. If anybody was wondering why I don't give out NBA bets, I haven't gave out NBA bets in the last couple of episodes. But last night, Bills come in here looking for an AFC East win for the first time this season. Lost to the Jets, lost to the Dolphins. Always good to play the worst team in the division to try to get that first win. Bills' character. Especially when you're playing against a team where you haven't had to punt the ball against them. And I want to say since probably the first matchup they had last year when it was windy as heck and it was just crazy field conditions. But Josh Allen goes out there, has a typical turnover, his usual routine. But aside from that, he played a pretty good game, 22 of 33 with 223 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. But the most important thing I think about last night's game was the run game was not Josh Allen dependent. Very often this season, the Bills have the only source of their run game has been Josh Allen. Sometimes Devin Singletary will do a little something here and there. Sometimes James Cook can do a little something here and there. But last night felt like it was the first time where they truly did not need Josh Allen to use his legs that much. So James Cook had 14 rushes for 64 yards, which is ironic because we recently lost a bet in our group chat, the Midwest Voices, shout out to them, because our friend Jalen thought James Cook would get 25 yards, and he got 13. Wild. No, I wouldn't think he got 13. He had like 2 yards. It was crazy. But he can kind of bounce back. A lot of times this season, he's have a couple of bad games, like very, very bad games. And then he'll come back with a pretty decent, solid game. And last night was no different with the 14 carries for 64 yards. But then Devin Singletary also had 51 yards off 13 rushes. So combined, that's a total of 155 yards. 115 yards. And that's a pretty solid game. Josh only needed to have 20 yards on the ground. And whenever you can kind of save Josh Allen's legs, keep him out of harm's way, it's a good game. I'll count it as a victorious game. And when he's able to focus more on like pass game, he won't have to do as much on his legs, won't be as tired, even though these are all professionals, but he won't be as tired, can stay in the pocket a little bit more, just wait to ad-lib some plays. And when it comes to, pass game, this is probably, him and Diggs are probably one of the best duos in the league, probably second best in the league behind Travis and Pat Mahomes. Because Diggs came out there 7 catches for 92 yards and a touchdown. Should have been 8 catches for I want to say, it was like a 40-yard touchdown that got caught back. Should have been around 130 yards and 2 touchdowns, but a holding penalty got it called back. Anyhow, Diggs, another amazing game. Back to being that top 3 guy in the league that we all thought he was. And, if I'm the Bills, I'm happy that we got out there with a win. Get in, get out. Now you have another long week because they won't play again until next Sunday. And you got time to, just rest, get guys back healthy. Poyer had a good game last night. Should have been an interception, but he didn't survive the ground, which I don't like as a as reasoning to it not being a catch. But, if I'm the Bills, I'm happy, got to win. You're kind of hoping that you're not even kind of hoping, you're literally hoping that the Dolphins lose this weekend. But we'll talk more about the Dolphins this weekend, a little upcoming next couple minutes. But the Patriots now fall 2 games behind the Jets in the division, because now that little bottom pit of being in last place. As a Giants fan, I know all about being in last place in the division. But the Jets are down. The Patriots are down there. It's kind of deep, digging that hole a little bit deeper. 2 games behind the Jets in terms of being last place in the AFC East, and then they're also digging themselves, into another hole with the Chargers, being behind the Chargers by 2 games for that last playoff spot. Because if we're being honest, the top 9 of the AFC has just kind of risen to the top like it's oil, because after the Patriots at number 9, it goes to Indianapolis Colts, who have 4 wins. And I don't think the Colts are going to do anything this season. I know that y'all know the Colts suck. You have Jeff Saturday as your head coach. Get him out of there. But anyhow, Chargers can take a 2-game gap, a 2-game lead this weekend. They get a win, which will kind of put the Patriots in a very bad spot, especially having to play Miami. Still having to play Miami, having a kind of a tough schedule going up ahead. Got to play the Bills again. It's like, where are these wins going to come from? You're going to need some help. Offense looks bad, like really, really bad. They're literally trying to run a quick game into the game, and nothing's open. Like, play designs suck. Only thing Mike can do is check downs, which the Bills are more than willing to give up, because it's 6 minutes left and you're taking check downs. You just take I want to say it was like a 6-minute drive, that last Patriots possession, before they scored. Like, where's the tempo? Where's the nuance? Where's the, je ne sais quoi, so to speak? So the Patriots are in a very interesting spot. Defense didn't play that bad for the Patriots last night. It's just, at some point, they're going to have to get the offense going. At some point, just hope that the wheel will keep going, get it going. But no, that wheel needs to be greased up a lot more before it gets to moving. So elsewhere in the NFL, this upcoming Sunday, there's a couple big matchups. 2 very, very, very important matchups. And one of those being a possible Super Bowl preview between the Dolphins and the Niners. So we all know how how Kyle Shanahan is when he plays Sean McVay, being 9-3 against Sean, kind of owning the Rams since Sean's taken over in Los Angeles. But Kyle Shanahan is also 3-2 against Matt LaFleur. 2 of those wins coming in the playoffs. And I say all that to talk about how Kyle is dominant against his former coaching staff members. If anybody, we all remember how the Commanders had Kyle, Sean, Matt LaFleur all on the same staff. And Kyle's 12-5 against them, as a whole. But now he has Mike McDaniels, another person from his coaching tree, his former offensive coordinator from last year, against them. He's on the other side for Miami. Miami's looking very good, can score the ball. It's like that. It's kind of insane, because we all thought Tyreek Hill was Pat Mahomes dependent. But no, he's proved that he's just that guy anywhere he's at. So the Niners coming to this game with the 11th best pass defense in the league, and Mike McDaniels was talking about how Nick Bosa is going to look to try to wreck the game. Nick Bosa, who is a top 5 pass rusher in the league, has been top 5 every year he's been healthy, essentially. And if he gets to have a chance at Tua, oh my God, it's going to be, the ball's going to come out faster. A lot of mistakes are going to be made. Mike McDaniels is probably going to figure out a way to still get the ball in his playmaker's hands because he's a great offensive guru. And it's just going to have to be Tua gets the ball out fast before Nick Bosa can get to him. Because if you let the 49ers defense just get off against you, come on. GG's in the mother freaking chat. Like, I personally think as the logic of how Kyle plays against his former assistants went into a lot of, the Vegas thoughts of it. Because, Niners are a favorite right now over the Dolphins. And I personally think that the Niners will beat the Dolphins because Kyle Shanahan owns his assistants. It's like clockwork. We've also seen Kyle Shanahan teams kind of neutralize Tyreek Hill because we saw in the Super Bowl a couple years ago. And for the most part, that game, Tyreek Hill was very quiet, didn't really do too much. But you never know. Different defensive coordinator, different team as overall, different situation for Tyreek Hill. So it's going to be a very interesting game. The Dolphins will win, keep the gap close between them and the Kansas City Chiefs for the first overall seed in the AFC. And then the Niners, with a win, can, widen the gap against them and the Seahawks. Try to get even better playoff standing, all that fun stuff that you need. Try to get the best possible outcome for your team when it comes to the playoffs with home field and all this other stuff. And then elsewhere on the other side, in the AFC versus AFC matchup, we have a rematch of last year's AFC Championship game between the Bengals and the Kansas City Chiefs. And Kansas City, they're probably been waiting for this game all year because we've never seen a team get the best of Patrick Mahomes like the Bengals have. Not the Bengals, Joe Burrow's Bengals has. And last year, they got punched in the mouth twice in the second half. Jamar Chase is back for the Bengals. The Bengals also have a better O-line. It's hard to say that. So it's gonna be pretty interesting. You finally come into Cincy. The Bengals win this game. They put themselves in a very great spot if they can, win out in the division, end up winning the division. They'll be in a good spot to hopefully be like a top 2-ish seed. But Joe Burrow, he has Kansas City's number. Finds a way to put on his Superman cape. Jamar Chase finds a way to put on his Superman cape. And it's going to be real interesting because Reed for the Kansas City Chiefs have been talking stuff about the Chiefs. Talking stuff about Higgins, Chase, Higbee, saying no matter what, he's going to clamp him. Which you're supposed to say, because you're not supposed to say, oh, I'm going to get cooked. No, you're not supposed to say that, because you're going to get right out that game plan. You're just going to write them out of here. But it's going to be a very interesting matchup. I honestly think, I know some of you will be thinking that I'm a hater, Kevon Belcher. But I do think the Bengals will beat the Chiefs. The Bengals are a better team than they were last year. I know the Chiefs have Travis Kelce. Chiefs are this, Chiefs are that. But I feel like this year is way easier to key in on Trav. I just don't think that the Chiefs can win this game. It's kind of hard to – it's very hard, not kind of, but very hard to beat a team 3 straight times, especially 3 times within, a season and a half. But it's going to be done. It's feasible. It's very feasible. Joey Burrow is going to get the job done. Bengals, it's another one in the win column for them. But who's to say? We never know. And then the last game I want to talk about are Cleveland Browns versus the Houston Texans. Deshaun Watson's first game back against the worst team in the league. Deshaun Watson, we all know, coming off a suspension for what happened while he was in Houston about the massage stuff and all those other things. I don't want to talk about that. But it's going to be seeing how the Browns were in training camp, because I was able to go to a training camp over the summer for the Browns, looks like their timing was off. But this is a great game to knock rust off. Like, if you're rusty, you would want to play against the worst team in the league. Say, for instance, you're playing Call of Duty or something for the first time in, like, 3 years. Like, first time in 2 years, I mean. You're going to want to play against, some bots, some noobs, some people who suck at the game. Get your feet wet, like, oh, yeah, I can get back in the groove of this. Because, hey, Cleveland Browns still have a chance at the playoffs. I know it would have been way better if they would have held on to beat the Jets. It would have been way better if they would have beat the Chargers when they had the opportunity to. But that's not the cards that were dealt. So we're going to see if what Kevin Stefanski is going to call. So it'll be interesting to see if he tries to, drop some rain in the water. Hey, Deshaun, go do something. Like, go get your feet wet. All this other stuff, because they can easily just say Nick Chubb running down their throats. We see Derrick Henry take off against the Texans every time he plays against them. I mean, every single time he sees Houston, he turns into, I don't know. He thinks he's playing back at Alabama playing UAB or something. Like, it's bad. So they can easily just go back to Chubb, go back to Hunt, feed them if things start going south. But I feel like this game is going to be very important to the confidence of both the team and Deshaun. Hopefully, they'll get the things going. Browns are my second favorite team in the NFL. So, hey, Browns back to the playoffs would be great. Hopefully I can go see a playoff game for the Browns this year. But I lied. Hold on, I lied. Because there's another big game. We're done with Cleveland for right now. We're going to talk about my real favorite team. The New York Giants, G-Men. New York, stand up. We have a game against the Washington Commanders this week. 1 p.m., tap in. Probably on Fox. 95% sure it's on Fox. Make sure y'all tap in to watch my boys. We win this game, we're good. We're going to be, third place in the division. Still a chance to be, top 2 in the division, which I haven't seen in a very long time. A very long time. Since I was in high school. It's been that long. But if we lose, we're back to being bottom of the division. And, I had PTSD from being at the bottom of the division for so long. I just can't keep doing it. Can't keep being down there. Giants, I need you to win. Daniel, Saquon, I need y'all. I need y'all to get it going. Defense, I need y'all to not let Tyler Heineke go crazy against us. We cannot go on a 3-game losing streak. I can't do it. We had a long week because we haven't played since Thanksgiving, so we had extra days of preparation. Come on. I need y'all. Don't let me down. But I am willing to sacrifice y'all for Michigan winning on Saturday. And with that being said, we'll talk about Michigan and the rest of the college football games after this little break. We'll be right back with episode 16 of Through the Whistle. Make sure you stay tuned. And, make sure there's a like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, all the above. And we'll be right back with episode 16 of Through the Whistle. Welcome back into episode 16 of Through the Whistle. And we're going to go ahead and jump right into the pool that we call college football. And in one of the less key matchups this weekend, we have Michigan and Purdue. We're going to start off with this game because this is the only game that matters, Like, who cares that there's other games that, could possibly get Ohio State in? Nobody cares about Ohio State. You're irrelevant, Just keep them over there. Keep them out of there. We're going to talk about, I know there's games that's like, we're going to talk about how if USC loses to Utah, we'll get there. If TCU loses to Kansas State, we'll get there, I promise. We're going to start off with the best team in the dang nation. That's the Michigan Wolverines. With J.J. McGoldrick back there slinging it. Next to Donovan Edwards running that. Ohio State fans, y'all not remember the runs. I don't know which one y'all want to remember, the first one or the second one. But either one is fine. Anyhow, Michigan plays Purdue, who is right now unranked. But, can't overlook anybody. Anyhow, Purdue has a great track record of being the number 2 team in the nation. They beat Iowa when they were number 2. They beat Penn State when they were number 2. Ohio State fans, they beat y'all when y'all were number 2. Now, I know you remember that when Dwayne Haskins was there, kind of ran the score up against y'all. Rondale Moore, field day against y'all. Anyhow, but we're not talking about Ohio State. I told y'all, I would never kick someone while they're down. I would never talk down on Ohio State. I would never. That's beneath me. But Michigan cannot overlook this Purdue team. They're only going a couple hours, like an hour or so down the road from their campus on Purdue to get to Indianapolis. But if Michigan overlooks them, there's a chance that, we could lose. But we're not. We're not going to overlook anybody. Jim Harbaugh does a good job of making sure his team is ready and prepared. You have Donovan Edwards, who's, probably more healthy than he was last week against Ohio State, which is important, especially with Blake Corum being officially shut down for the rest of the season. Be interesting to see if he comes back. I doubt it, though, because 230 more yards, 230 more rushes on those legs can only take the draft stock down even more. So hopefully he has a successful surgery, back in time for pro day, be able to run, show his talents that we've seen so many times these last couple seasons as Michigan fans. He's a great kid. I'm saying great kid like we're not the same age. He's a great guy, very explosive, truly a great player, a great person in the community. We saw him giving out turkeys on Twitter. He was giving out turkeys day after he hurt his knee. That's just the type of person that he is, which is very, very, very outstanding as, someone of that kind of stature, best player on a top team in the nation, but you're out here giving back to the community, which is a very great thing. But Michigan, wearing their all blues, all navy, our go-to look when we got to lock in and win a game. We wore it last year against Ohio State. I know you remember that. Anyways, J.J. McCarthy, number 9, fear the 9. He's going to have a pretty stellar game. I predict about 225 passing yards. Donovan, probably about 80 to 90 yards rushing, easy. Probably about 50 yards in the pass game from him. Hey, is this going to be a nice little breeze, the dub? We'll see what type of stakes we have on the line, because we already know we can lose. We can lose and still make the playoffs, because they can't play Ohio State in over us. I'm sorry, the headphones are just shaking. I'm just going to take these down. But we can lose and still make the playoffs, unlike some teams. And one of those teams being in USC. If USC loses to Utah, it's going to be a very interesting Sunday, because we all saw the game about a month or so ago. Utah beat USC with 2 of their fault, even though they were at home. They were down early. It looked like it was going to be a blowout. But Utah stayed persistent, got things going. And it felt like Utah really had no chance of really losing that game. They had 2 other teammates who passed away on their helmet. They're playing at home, at night. Utah had no chance of losing that game. Let's be real. Let's be honest. The motion that they had, no, that wasn't going to happen. But this game's playing in Las Vegas. Right? Allegiant Stadium. Caleb Williams has secured the Heisman already. Caleb Williams, I'm pretty sure, will want to solidify his Heisman by winning the last game of the season, before the playoff, before Heisman voting, officially closes. I'm pretty sure he wants to win that game. You know, you're a competitor. Of course you want to win that game. Come on, it's competition. So USC, Caleb Williams had a great game the first time. Kind of ran out of gas towards the end. But tonight, USC is going to get the job done. USC covers their spread. Not worried. If you're worried, take it down to USC money line at minus 188. But, that's just me. Caleb Williams at least throws for 288 yards at the least. Jordan Addison probably goes for like 70 receiving yards. And USC goes in there and beats them up. Like, it's easy. Like, Utah away from home isn't really that good. Come on. Let's call a spade a spade. All their losses have come on the road. Come on. Come on. So USC, I think, will take away any type of, hope or any type of chaos, essentially. Well, should take away any type of chaos that's possible for another team getting into the playoffs, such as Ohio State or Alabama. Even though I personally wish that the Final Four could have been Ohio State, Michigan, USC, Ohio State, Alabama, because think about it, the two quarterbacks in each of the next two draft classes in one playoff. Right. JJ and Caleb, top two quarterbacks in next year's class. Easy. You know for sure Caleb's going number one. There's nothing that JJ can do next year that would make Caleb not go number one. And then this year we have CJ and Bryce, two best quarterbacks in this class. Put it together in one playoff. It will be the best playoff in viewership history. But that's not what's going to happen. Elsewhere, let's go to Texas. TCU will be taking on Kansas State inside Jerry's World. Kansas State let TCU come back against them earlier this season. If TCU loses, a lot of people are saying, oh, no, they're going to win. They're still going to make it. I don't know. A lot of people in the committee would rather have Ohio State than TCU literally lost the day before. TCU cannot do what they usually do and get down early and, hope that they can fight back. If their defense can play like they have, TCU will have no problem beating Kansas State, and they'll be in the playoff. Like, easy. Number 3 team. Play against my boys. Play against Michigan. Get your butt kicked. Come on. Hot nail boot in your face. Stomped in your face. Hot nail boot. Wise man once said that. But I honestly do not think that there will be any type of chaos when it comes to Sunday morning Sunday when it comes to getting the playoff seeding correct. I still think that the top 4 will all win. And yes, I know I didn't talk about Georgia. Jane Daniels just broke my heart. I know. Jane Daniels, you vandalized my trust down there at LSU. I thought that you were going to save the day and create chaos across the playoff format. Go in there, beat up on Georgia, and then make you guys a case to why y'all should be in as a 2-loss team. But you didn't. You lost last week to Texas A&M, who's not even a bowl-eligible team. You ruined my life, Jaden Daniels. But you're still the GOAT, because I rock with you. But I think after what I just saw, I think we all can agree that after what we saw last week, Texas A&M beating LSU has no chance against Georgia. Like, come on. Georgia's going to go in there, handle business, get to the Peach Bowl so they can play their slow semifinal game against USC, and that's going to be it. I do think that Michigan and Georgia are both, regardless, already in. It's all about just seeding, all the other stuff. I honestly think that if Georgia loses, they'll only drop to probably number. I don't know. Depends on what TCU and Michigan do. But I think at worst they drop to number 3. But anyhow, It's going to be a great weekend of college football. We're going to have MAC championship. Shout out to the MAC. Shout out to my boys down at OU. I think OU will go to Ford Field and beat up on Toledo. Get my guys a ring. My boy Cannon, Bryce, Big Red, Jeremiah, Dante. I think all my guys down at OU will get a dub, handle business. I will take OU minus 3.5, probably minus 4.5. I think it'll be OU winning by at least a touchdown. But got a lot of guys down there I know. A lot of Chuck Train guys. Shout out to Chuck Train. Shout out to Chuck Gresham, the GOAT. Got games in the American, UCF versus Tulane. Very good matchup. Near 6th spot on the line. I think Tulane will beat UCF this time. I'm not going to lie. So we have a lot of good football going on this weekend from both college and NFL. So with that being said, this will conclude episode 16, a very short episode. And regardless of the fact of how long or short the episodes are, thank you for watching. As always, please like, share, and subscribe. Ty Belcher, and this is Through the Whistle, episode 16.